Hey everybody, this is Adam Strum, and we're about to go cruising into a better financial future with your host, Kim Cruz. Hey everybody, Adam Strum here, and we're about to go cruising into a better financial future with your host, Kim Cruz.
Thanks, Adam. I am Kim Cruz. I'm a wife, a mom, daughter, sister, friend, entrepreneur, and business owner of Cruz Credit Consulting, but not necessarily in that order. I have over 30 years experience in corporate America and a passion for helping people succeed in all areas of life. And I'm joined by my friend, Adam Strum, who's the brains behind this production.
I guess that would be me. I'm Adam Strum, 15-year corporate vice president, ran away from corporate, happy to have done it. I've owned Financial Rescuers. I am the chief operating officer for USFA Marketing and US Financial Alliance, and I own a small business consulting firm on the side. On top of that, I also sit on the board of directors of a charity in Florida called AMRAC Anti-Bully. I suggest you all go to amracantibully.org if you want to learn more about that. Back to you, Kim.
And together we review our listeners' financial problems and address them with our experience, tips, tricks, and resources of network referrals to help you cruise into a better financial future. And
Kim,
yes,
uh, you're very excited today, and I know why. Someone that you look up to, a star in your sky, is with us today. And since you know her much better than I do, I'm going to give you just fly with this intro. I'm going to sit back and listen to you two educate today.
I am so excited to have my good friend Danell Rich with us today. Danell is an entrepreneur. She's a mother of five. She has 26 years experience in sales. She is a public speaker and coach, highly motivating, I might add as well. She is a seven-figure earner in network marketing. She is the number two earner and the number one female earner in her current company with a group of 400,000 people in 7 countries. She is
Is that all?
just a tiny
Is
bit.
that all?
She is a servant leader. She is so generous and she is always giving. Danell and I have known each other for probably 7 years, seven, eight
Seven, eight
years
years.
now.
Yeah.
And we met through network marketing. I have
Yep.
met her once for like 30 seconds at a networking event when she was out here in California. Other than that, our paths have just always crossed. We've always connected, and I am so super excited to have Danell here with us to talk about a super exciting topic, mindset, because she is the master guru. And I think that I've watched her up and down through her career, and mindset has changed during that time as well. So I thought she would be a great special edition for
Mindset
our
is
audience.
so important to
Oh,
everybody. I cannot wait to hear what Danell has to tell us about this because I've done courses on that as well. It's so important no matter what stage of the game you're at to have the right mindset to move forward.
yes.
Danielle, the stage is yours. I'll be quiet.
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, when Kim reached out to me, I was extremely honored. We've known each other almost 8 years now. I adore her. I love her tenacity. I love her level of professionalism. I love that she loves her family. And she's just like me. We're just women who go for it. We want more. We want to do more. We want to be more. But we also are centered around family and um, bettering, the now, the here and now, and being in the present. It's very easy to get caught up in what you want tomorrow. It's very easy to get stuck in what you used to be in. And I have focused very highly on being present, which is something I spent most of my life not doing. I was either upset about the past or I was worried about the future. And a lot of what we're going to talk about today, first of all, mindset's my favorite thing to talk about because you're looking at someone who had a very diseased mindset, a very unhealthy self-talk, who had a record player going on, right? For any of us over 40, we know what record players are. It was like this recording looping, and it was it was very tormenting at times because I couldn't shut down those thoughts of failure, those thoughts of I'm never going to be enough, or when am I going to get a good break? And so, I like to be really real with people, and I'm a just no mask kind of girl. You either love me or you don't, but I'm going to give you some stuff today that's going to change your life if you're open to it. And so I happen to be a girl at 31 years who was so tired of being broke, so tired of being broken, that I was widely open to a mentor or someone coming into my life to teach me the way. Right. I love Baby Yoda. A lot of people know. I don't know. As soon as I saw Baby Yoda, I was like, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan now. I watched Mandalorian, and this is the way. I'm telling you today, this is the way to get out of your rut and to compress time. The nuggets I'm going to give you are only going to be the foundational things that are going to kind of expose you and get your mind to break open, because you're probably caught in a loop like I was, of not understanding that life could change if I changed my mind. And so I just thought, these are the things I'm stuck with. These are the cards I was dealt. This is the terrible childhood I was handed. These are the parents who were messed up and shouldn't have married and tried to find their way and kind of grew up as they raised me and my sister. I always felt sorry for myself. I always had that victim mindset. I didn't necessarily know I did. I wasn't cognizant of it. But one day when I was 31 and I met this woman, serendipitously, she said to me, "You need to meet my sister." I met this woman and she said to me, my sister is an incredible pastor, but she's got a life story that will wreck you. You'll be in tears when you hear the abuse she survived, the childhood she survived. And she said, "I know that you're probably going to resonate with her, Danell. Her name is Carol, and she lives 2 towns over from you." And I'm like, at that point, it was like you dropped $1 million out of the sky. I was thrilled to know that there was someone who potentially could help me to figure out life. I was newly married. I was pregnant with my second child, and I needed to understand how to get out of a place of sadness, misery, feeling depressed at times, feeling like there wasn't enough hope. And I know so many people I meet tell me, I grew up with people who didn't cheer me on, who didn't encourage me. I hear people say that they never felt good enough. They got bullied. They were talked down to. They were verbally abused. And you know what? I understand. And I thank God that those things happen to me now, because I wouldn't be able to help people get unstuck and be an overcomer. And that's where my real passion is. I love my family and my career, and I love life. But there was a time I didn't love life. There was a time I would have probably rather not be here. And to look back now, if I had had the information at a young age that I'm going to give you, I could have harnessed a life of greatness right out of the gate, with a lot less mistakes and a lot more, success and excitement and joy, right? Joy isn't about being happy. Joy is feeling joyful in the midst of no matter what hits you. You're going to win. You're going to make it through. You're going to end up on top, because there's no such thing as failure anymore. There's just fall down 7, get up 8. And so some of the things this woman taught me were, Danell, you need to reprogram your mind. You need to renew your mind. And once you do that, you won't actually think about the past anymore. You'll start to have an acceleration of success. And I was like, I'll just take a drop of success at this point. I knew I was a go-getter. I just didn't know how to get out of that. I felt like a caged animal. Like, I want a lot in life. I want to be. I wasn't a lazy person. I just grew up around a lot of people who had diseased mindsets. You live what you learn. Well, once you know better, you better do better. And that's my favorite thing to say around this house. Listen, you all know better than I did, or my fiance did. We have a blended family. He has 3 children. I have 2. We were high school sweethearts. We reunited recently and fell back in love. So we're getting married this October. And both of us, with our 5 children. Thank you.
Danell, where are you getting married?
Santorini, Greece, on the island, overlooking. Yeah, we're going to do that in October. Thank you, Jesus, that Greece reopened. Reopened this month.
When I first met you, that probably would never have even been a thought in your mind.
Not even close.
Yep.
I was majorly in debt. I was $750,000 in debt. Yep. We were losing everything. This was with my ex-husband.
Yes.
Married for 15 years to a very good guy. We just weren't a good match. He wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't a cheater. He wasn't a bad guy. But during that marriage is when I learned that someone isn't going to make me whole, that adding this guy to my life isn't going to make me feel happier. The nice house, the hardworking guy who's loyal and faithful and a good father isn't going to fill these voids. And quite frankly, most of us walk through life looking for the next person or relationship or mentor to fill the voids. And quite frankly, it's not about filling a void anymore for me. It's actually getting rid of, kind of blessing and releasing all the junk that happened, making peace with it, understanding that you would never be the incredible person you are today if those things didn't happen to you. That used to sound like
Wow.
malarkey to me. That used to sound like stupidity to me,
No,
but
no,
it's
no, no, no,
not.
no, no. Danielle,
So
I'm
true.
I'm an ordained minister. I've
Yep.
mentioned it on previous shows. So I
Sure.
know exactly what you're talking about. And yeah, until you can learn to forgive the past
Ugh,
so that you can move on, it's always going to be an anchor pulling back at you no matter what you try to
yes.
do. And just so you
Yes.
know, you and I need to talk outside of the show one day because
Sure.
I am a humongous proponent of ending wage slavery.
Mm,
And I know you know what I'm talking about
I
because you
know.
just
Yes.
explained the bubble of wage slavery. Everybody's caught in that. You got to go get a job and work for someone or you're not worth anything.
Yeah, I listen, I did that. I was in that rat race for years and I was good at what I did. I've done sales since I was 17 years old. And yet I kept hitting that ceiling. Listen, you don't want to be a slave, but here's the thing. There are certain truths that are universal laws that you cannot break. They're there since the dawn of time. And one of them is if you're working for someone else, you're making them rich. You're not making yourself rich, number one. Number
Correct.
two, we were born for greatness. All of us, every one of you, no matter where you're at in life, the mistakes you made. Today is the day to say, I'm going to do what Danielle did, do what Kim did, do what most people who are now winning in life did, which is got up out of the pit, said, I'm never looking back again. And I'm going to get myself into something, one or two things that's going to allow me to build some sort of side income while I'm working on staying in my job for now. And that's what I did. I just said, I will work as many hours as I have to. I never want to go through foreclosure again. I never want to be broke again. I'm not going to sit on my thumbs and do nothing. I'm not that kind of person. And just so you know, Adam, I coined the phrase PBR back when I met Kim, but it wasn't PBR like professional bull riders. I look for people who are pissed off about where they're at in life. They're annoyed. They're frustrated. They're broke because broke people tend to be either A, really motivated or really not. And are they ripe and ready to do something about it? The R is the most important. Plenty of pissed off broke people out there.
Oh, yeah,
Show
that's
me one
easy.
who's ripe and ready to not be like that anymore. And that was me. I was like, girl on fire. I am not just going to save this home. I'm not just going to keep my family in this house. Because God, if you take this house away, okay, we'll live in a cave as long as we're healthy. I remember saying that to my ex-husband. If God takes this house, I mean, we were good people who did good things. It's just the way the market went, right? We were owned a construction company. I was in real estate. Everything tanked. Connecticut got hit hard just like everywhere else. And all of a sudden, normal people who worked hard and didn't do much to bother anyone, all of a sudden couldn't put food on the table. So I resonate with everyone who's been through that, because I've lived the sleepless nights. I know the years of aging that you feel you go through. You age when you're stressed out financially.
Oh,
But I was the
2008 was
girl.
a 20-year year.
It was, and it was
Yeah.
the longest year of our lives, right? And
Yep.
then just as people are coming out of it, another crash comes and we're like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. God did not put me on this earth to constantly be in poverty and constantly, oh, he needs shoes. Oh, I need to, my kid needs wrestling gear, but I can't afford it. And that motivated me. And here was my mindset. I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to figure this out because there is no back door for me. I'm not going to lay down and get run over by this train. I've had enough of that in my life. And those of you listening, if you've had it, if you're tired, if you're feeling that way, ending the wage slavery is this. Find something to link into that will start to create a side income. And let me tell you, you have to be persistent. You have to persevere and you have to be patient. Those are the 3 P's. If you're not being persistent and you're just going to do a little today and then take a few days off because you want to watch, the Super Bowl or the World Series. Sorry, I had to sacrifice a lot in order to stay disciplined and persistent. You have to persevere through the ups and downs. It's not a straight line to the top. And you have to make sure that every single day of your life, you say to yourself, this mindset, I'm not stopping. I don't care what comes. I'm a winner. I'm good enough. I'm worthy of a better life, and I'm going to make it happen no matter what. I don't know how, but I know it's going to happen for me. And it's in the knowing, according to Les Brown. And I will tell you, I second that. It is in the knowing. And Kim and I have discussed this years ago.
Yep.
I somehow knew, dead broke, almost $1 million in debt, losing my home, miserable, not sure, and how I was going to get through all that debt and pay it off. I was trying to calculate, if I do a little bit every year, maybe in 30 years I'll be, break even.
Yep.
And my
No
mind
guarantee
said
we'll
no.
be here in 30 years.
Exactly. And I'm thinking, I know that it's going to happen for me, because in that gut that you have, that's your spirit talking to you saying, you're going to make it. And I know Kim has that spirit. It's the whole, listen, no matter what storm comes, I'll still be standing because I am resilient. And you've got to get to the point where you stop feeling sorry for yourself and you get out of that mindset of trading time for dollars. You will never get ahead in life trading time for dollars. You won't.
Of course not. It's a mathematical equation that has no answer. It's not possible because there's never enough hours. There's never enough hours for you to be compensated enough for the hours you gave away. That's why I hate wage slavery, because to sell yourself, not to mention to sell your mindset and your morals, because you have to give up all of that to the boss you now answer to, and you have to live by his mindset and his morals, or else he doesn't pay you the money for that time. It's just an insane proposition, which is why in 2008, I told a Fortune 500 company, yeah, I'm vice president of training, sales, marketing, and collections, and I don't need you anymore. Have a nice life. I'm out. And I walked away.
Peace out.
I walked away in the middle of the crisis in 2008.
Wow.
And you talk about Les. I've met Les. He is an amazing guy.
So
I've also
incredible.
met Tony Robbins. I've also met Joel Osteen.
Love.
Yep. And you quoted Joel a couple of minutes ago, so I know you've watched Joel. There's no doubt
all the time
because you quoted him just
he
a
has
few
the
minutes
gift
ago.
of encouragement.
There is something better for you out there. It's just you opening your eyes and seeing it. That's Joel's whole message. If you crack it down to one line.
Yeah.
And so I love where you're coming from. I can't wait to hear the rest of this because Kim sidetracked you from your story.
No worries. So yeah, where were we on the story? I mean, literally, I met Carol and she sat me down. That's where you left off, because
you broke off to talk about your family life, and then you blended it in. But that's great. But you were just about to give us this. And I also know you're on Clubhouse, by the way. You don't have to tell me you are on. I know you're on Clubhouse because you used a Clubhouse buzzword. You're about to drop nuggets. So I know you're on Clubhouse. We'll continue from
I've been on a few times.
Per hour.
When I met Carol, it was one of those moments where I'm sitting in this beautiful home in Branford, Connecticut. Everything was like creamy white couches and creamy white walls and just a beautiful home, very serene. I knew she was a pastor, and her and her husband, but I didn't know enough about her. There was an instant sense of peace. And she said, I'm going to tell you my story. And she told me her story and it wrecked me. And then she said, now that was like an hour, right? I mean, her father actually said when her and her mother were on the phone when she was younger, after he had abandoned them for another woman, she said, Dad, we're hungry. And he said, eat the roof shingles. And he hung up. I mean, that's the kind of life, just to give you a flavor of how much worse her life was than mine. And she wasn't trying to compete. She was just telling me authentically her story. And at the end was this beautiful outcome of the beautiful man that she met, who just was an incredible human being who loved on her, and they built a beautiful family together, and how her healing happened and how her ministry started. So she looked at me and she said, so tell me your story. And I was like, oh, okay. So I told her everything, and she never interrupted me. It was the first time, Adam, Kim, in my entire life where someone heard my entire story and actually heard me. And she looked at me and she said, so you've lived a life of being invalidated, of being talked down to, of being verbally abused, of a lot of abandonment, rejection. She starts naming the stuff, like labeling it all. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, oh, yeah. And she goes, and you're angry. And I'm like,
not easy
yes. I was like, I'm angry. And she's like, here's the thing, you're never going to get an I'm sorry. And I'm like, excuse me?
Oh.
She said, and you're going to forgive them, even though they're probably never going to say sorry. And we're going to do that next appointment. And I was like, oh, no, we're not. They should be saying they're sorry to me. I had a real chip on my shoulder, you know? Long story short, she let at the end of the 3 hours we were together, my makeup was down my face. I mean, why even wear makeup to her house? Every week that I went was a 3-hour session the first 3 months. It was insane how much we dug in deep. I was like ready for a change. I want out of this pit forever and I'm never looking back. That's where you have to be if you want to live your best life. You want to be financially free, you better be ready to literally get your mind completely changed. Because tonight you could go home, you can join a network marketing company, you could become an entrepreneur, you could work with either of these lovely people here that I adore. However, if your mind is diseased, you're going back to poverty. Everything will reset back to whatever is in your mind, especially what's programmed in your subconscious mind. She opened the door to me about subconscious mind, about programming, about how we are brainwashed for failure and how we can undo that brainwashing, and we can reinvigorate our thought life and we can actually manifest greatness. And I was like, okay. And she goes, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go home and you're going to get this on CD. Back then it was CD, 6 CD set, Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer, who, by the way, I had heard of and I knew who she was. I had never listened to that before. Guys, I listened to it so many times, 6 times, all 6 CDs, that over a year, I was transformed out of the gate. Like, even though there was a lot more work to do, that change, that was the turning point for me, was that homework she gave me. I have given that as a gift, that set, even the book for teens. If you have a teen that's really battling depression, anxiety stuff, Battlefield of the Mind for kids and teens is awesome. But anyway, I say that because that was listen, without knowledge, we perish. The knowledge that you get, if you sit on it and do nothing, you'll never see a new day of something great. You'll see the same day over and over again for the rest of your life, right? You're never in a state of like this, you're in a state of decline or you're going up. Most people are declining in their thoughts, in their physical life, in their emotional life, in their spiritual life. And all I'm asking you today is say, all right, I'm willing to start thinking different. And by the way, it doesn't cost anything and you don't have to sweat. It's awesome. I make more money because of my mindset than I do from having a hustle. And I'm a hard worker. I just don't have to work as hard because I've learned the power of my thoughts. And Adam, I don't know if you know the book, Working with the Law by Raymond Holloway.
I know of the book. That's not one I've read.
So 2 years ago, I was introduced to that book by a business partner of mine who's a multi-million-dollar earning woman. She's done great things. At the age of 45, she became a bikini pro when she was overweight, like literally transformed her body. And she started to teach me as a friend. She's like, you've done great things and you're doing great things, but I need you. This is a book that's going to resonate with you. And I opened it. And it's the very thin book. I mean, everyone I work with now, it's a prerequisite if they're in my organization and they want to work with me, they've got to know this stuff because it's the foundational stuff. I gave it to my brother, changed his life at 31 years old. And that book basically says what we're talking about today. There are laws that you can't break. And if you work against those laws, your life will be hard. You work with the law and you go with the flow and you're not swimming up the river, you're swimming with the flow of the river, the current. You're going to see a place where you're going to come to a place where money flows to you and through you with ease. You're going to notice opportunities coming to you. You're going to notice that you're in this place of receiving instead of pushing hard. I always thought I had to push so hard. You don't.
Stop chasing, start receiving. I agree
Start
100%.
being in a place. Yeah, manifest good stuff, but you can't manifest good stuff with lots of junk in your soul. That means your woundedness, your trauma. You're looking at someone who was raped at 16 years old, not by someone I was dating, by somebody. I was literally attacked in a car and dragged into the back seat and raped. That stuck with me for years. Okay. I was not a very sexually active girl. So think about that for a second, what that does to you when you think somebody's older brother is driving you home and you take an elbow to the face and you get ripped into the back seat and you are violated. That trauma, I one day realized if I stayed with that toxic poison of fear and hurt, and mostly fear, of it happening again, I would be literally calling in more bad stuff. And the minute I gave it to God and I said, all right, I'm going to let this go. I'm going to forgive this guy. That's a whole nother level of wow, hard to do.
Mhm.
When I released it, I have to tell you guys, it was like 300-pound elephant came off my chest.
Yes.
The fear went away. I didn't worry about delivery men anymore in my house. I didn't have to worry about learning what a firearm. Listen, I'm all for whatever makes you feel safe in life. But what really is going to make you feel good and start winning in life is getting rid of the toxic thoughts that hold you back. You are your worst enemy and you just probably don't know it yet. It's
Okay.
not the people around you that will change either. You have to change, and then everything around you will start to magically change.
I just want to make it clear for those listeners who are not big on faith.
Sure.
Okay. That let go and let God does not mean the figure that's talked about in the Bible, or the figure that's talked about in the Quran, or the figure that's talked about in Buddhism or Taoism or any of the thousands of religions that exist. Let go and let God means give it up to something bigger than you. It could be the universe, it could be the sky, it could be the ocean. But the problem is not yours anymore. You've given it to whatever it is you
You
decide.
release it, right? You just
Exactly.
say, and listen, I have
my last part,
400,000 people in my group.
Rent. I'm going to
Yeah, I've got 400,000 people in my group, and I have people of every faith, every race, color, and creed. And here's what I say when I'm on stage or I'm in front of them. I love the Lord. I won't shy away from it, but I love you regardless if you're an atheist. I love you.
Right. I just wanted to make it clear because people sometimes get turned off by the word.
If you're gay, I love you no matter who you are.
I feel the same way.
Because that's who I am. And so I always say, as long as you respect that, I love the Lord, I'm not pushing them on you, but it's part of my life. However, if it's not for you, just take that and set it aside and listen to the main theme, which is this. Everybody's mind has the potential to be programmed in a way that you can start winning big. And I mean, literally overnight, you can start a shift. There is an energetic shift. I've had a lot of people who are Christians come at me and say, stop talking about energy. God created energy.
Energy is what makes humans work.
Yes.
And I don't need to go toe to toe with anyone. I believe he created energy. And if he created energy, and I know that I feel energy and we are energetic beings, everything in this room vibrates, it's energy. Once you understand that your junk vibrates at a very low energy. And the more of that you hold on to, like I used to, the more of that you're going to feel. And the worse, the sicker you're going to become. You can have physical illness in your body, dis-ease, because of the junk and the poisons and the hurts and the traumas you don't let go of. But your mind is so powerful that it will accept new truths. The problem with your mind is, your subconscious mind is, it doesn't know good from bad. So if your mindset is this every day, if Adam said to himself every day, I'm always going to be broke. I can't afford that. I'm never going to get ahead. I hate my job. Guess what? His subconscious mind would take that as truth and eventually he would manifest a life of poverty. However, if his mindset and his word track every day to himself, which is what mine is, I am wealthy, I am full of love, I am happy, I am healthy, I am strong, I am loved, I am more than enough, I am a victor. I don't say I'm not a victim, and I never use the words I'm not broke. I say I am financially free. I am tithing and giving to so many people all over the world. I say the good because I know if I say I don't have cancer, hear me out, the subconscious mind hears cancer. But if you say I am healthy and strong and every cell in my body is full of health and love and light, that's what you're going to manifest within your body. And I know for a lot of you, this is new stuff. When I first heard it, I was like, this can't be real. It's so real. And it's so in your grasp to have that better life without your spouse having to change, without your parents having to be better parents, or your siblings to pay more attention, or for your boss to be nicer. You don't even need a single person around you to change
them. You have to change you.
But we spend our lives trying to do that because we think the minute they all are the right way, our lives will be great.
No, nothing will change.
Right. And I think that's
again,
one of the biggest
I'm going to quote
issues.
Rent real quick because this is amazing. And I'm going to watch Danielle's face light up. There's only now, there's only this. Forget regret, or life is yours to miss.
Wow, I love that. And that's the first time I'm hearing that. That's awesome.
It's from Rent, the musical.
Love.
Yep. So, that's the words I live by, which is, there's only now. You can't change the past, and you can only control your future.
That's right.
Stop trying to control others' futures, control yours. Know where you're going, see your destiny, and keep moving toward it. Let go of that baggage. You're going to miss out on some of the greatest things life has for you if you're so busy carrying your bags around that you
Amen.
don't look around. So that's my little 2 cents on that. And keep going, please. As they would say in the churches I go to, preach.
Preach it. Well, Kim, you wanted to say something. I don't want to miss that before I add on to what Adam was saying.
No, he pretty much said the same
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
Good. So for me, what you just said is exactly what I teach people. And I love coaching because I love when people call me and tell me they have breakthroughs. And I'm talking, guys, I'll do a coaching session and literally within a week, they're texting me because I do follow-up sessions with them. And they're texting me saying, breakthrough, breakthrough, I got a sale, breakthrough. Oh my gosh, I reunited with my father who I haven't spoken to in years. And it's funny, everything you just said, Adam, is exactly what I've learned to be the truth, and not just the truth, it's what causes massive shifts in the right direction. However, what I add on to that is profess, which means speak it out. So again, let's just take what I know and I'll give it to you, and you can package it however you want, guys, however, whatever way you want to swallow this. But the bottom line is you have to call things that are not as though they are. All that means is, if this is a, I don't know, a Yeti. Yeah, this is a Yeti and it's empty. Okay. And it is almost empty. And I want that to be a full overflowing Yeti. Then magically, I would say, I have more than enough. There's more for me. I start speaking what I want. Now, it's not going to really show up in here. But that analogy I'm using, which I've told my kids, which they finally get it, which is, if you're missing something in life, right? There's not enough in here right now. If there's not enough, whether it's finances, whether it's love, whether it's respect, whether it's honor, whatever your void is. For me, it was feeling rejected and abandoned by my parents because they were a mess. When you start talking to that void and you say the opposite of what the void is, -5 and +5 do what? They cancel out. When there's a cup that's feeling not full, meaning you don't feel full and full of joy, you don't see fruit popping up, not real fruit, the fruit of a much happier bank account, a much happier relationship. When you're not seeing that, that means you're seeing a void. I want you to speak to that void and I want you to fill it with your words. What you're doing is creating an atmosphere where things start to come in. So here's what I do almost every day, probably. I'm so disciplined at it now. A lot of it I hear, even though I'm thinking it, I'm hearing it, but I do speak it out.
It's on autoplay.
Yes. So my cousin's daughter, Darlene, who is my second cousin, who's 14, just got diagnosed with brain cancer, a tumor behind her eye. Her eye started to bulge, very pretty, normal, healthy girl in San Diego. Darlene's adorable. And the eye started to bulge, and over about 4-week period, I have each week what the picture she sent me, the eye got worse and worse, and I went in and found a mass. What I do from where I am is I speak what I want to see. I want you to do this in your own life based on whatever you want to see happen. You're going to say, I am. You're not going to say I will. You're not going to say I can. You don't say I'm going to. This is the magic right here. This is the secret. You speak with the words I am. I am healthy and strong. So what I say out loud when I do my prayer and when I'm done, Darlene is healthy and strong. Her eyes are healthy and normal. I don't say there's no mass. I don't say there's no cancer. I said she is healed, healthy, and whole. And then I do it on the phone with her mom, who weeps, and we pray together as a family, me, my sister, my mom, my cousin, and we speak life over that girl. Yes, she has to go through chemo. Yes, she has to go through treatment, but we are doing something with our mouths. We're speaking into existence what we'd like to see manifest. And if you've never learned the power of thinking big, or the magic of thinking big and believing big, then read the book, The Magic of Thinking Big. There are books that have changed my life. That one changed my life. It taught me that I was limiting myself in what was possible. This house would not have been possible if I didn't start speaking and believing for something big, because in my divorce, I walked away with pretty much nothing. I walked out of that house, left him the house that was his, left him the furniture, left him the dog, took a few things with me and started over with nothing. And then this came so fast, my head spun.
I
The money
remember
came fast.
watching you. I remember
Everything, right?
watching you get. Yep.
Everything happened fast because I made a decision. I
Yep.
said, I'm going to profess and speak and believe that I am going to have everything I need and more. And then I'm going to go out and help other people get that, because abundance is possible. It's everywhere. I was tapping into the lack. I want you guys to have either, you're either going to be in the place of abundance or you're going to be vibrating on a level of lack. You don't want to be where I was. And if you are, it's easy to get up here by disciplining your mouth, really, and your thoughts.
Yep. Stop putting negative out there. And this way,
That's
negative
it.
stops coming to you.
Stop saying negative
There's
things.
more than one way to say anything.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I am are two of the most powerful words
Yes.
in the human language, in whatever
Yes.
language you're speaking. But I am.
I am.
Whatever
It's
is
a
what-
declaration.
Now, wait a minute.
And
I
you
stuck
believe.
up for the non-religious a little while ago. But for those who are religious, I am is the name of God.
Yes,
The great
it
I
is.
am. Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
I'm an ordained minister. So even if I, come across and I'll support an atheist, like Danielle was saying, I'll support anyone in any religion.
Absolutely.
They
Yes.
just have to know that there's something greater than themselves. It's really, really important to
Yes.
understand that.
Yes.
And then it's important not to use the negative. So like you said, with your niece, I believe it was, right, who has the cancer?
Darlene, my cousin. Yep.
Okay, your cousin. Why would you mention cancer?
Don't.
All you're doing is giving cancer more power when you say it.
Yes.
So I'm
thank
just
you.
breaking this down for people just in case they didn't get what you
Yes.
were saying.
No, I
And
love
the breakdown
this.
is simple. You don't have to say that. What you're affirming, and that's what it is. It's affirmations.
An affirmation.
So for those of you who don't like the word prayer, I can solve this problem for you.
Make it-
You're just affirming things. That's all you're
Yes.
doing.
You're
It
just
doesn't matter.
declaring.
I declare
Yes.
that tomorrow morning is going to be the start of the best day ever. And tomorrow I'll declare that
Yes.
tomorrow morning is going to be the start of the best day ever.
Yes.
And this way, every day is the start of the best day ever. And that's how that works. The Power of Positive Thinking is a book that changed my life.
Yes, it's a great book. And actually my sales team, which spans 7 countries going into another 4, we're going to be open in China soon, Japan, Malaysia, and Singapore this year. We collectively say this. This is how I train them. And Kim can tell you, this is how I train. I teach them to say, business is coming to me easily. People want to know about my product and they want to know about my opportunity. I am successful. I am making great money. I am financially free. And these are people who are dead broke, not sure about themselves, not feeling like they know what they're doing. But all of a sudden, I see this incredible shift because I do the affirmations and declarations with them. I go, at first, it's going to feel like you're just lying to yourself. And then all of a sudden, your subconscious mind opens the doors, which are very difficult for it to be open. Subconscious mind takes a while of hearing the same thing over and over before it accepts it as a truth. That's why if you keep marinating on, as I say, or fearing or worrying, you actually throw that into the back of your mind, which is your subconscious mind. Now, Dr. Caroline Leaf, if you've never heard of her, Leaf, she's a neuroplastician, changed my life. Cannot wait to go to Dallas, Texas to see her. I was scheduled to see her, then COVID hit. She is a faith-filled woman, but more importantly, she is a brilliant scientist who only teaches the power of thought and the fact that you can. Now, mind you, 30 years ago, no one in the medical community thought we could regrow brain cells. We thought that neurons, once they died and nerve endings actually died, that they could not be regrown. That is not truth anymore. We now know through the advancement of medicine that thoughts are things. So when you think a thought over and over, and my favorite thing to do at my conferences is put it up on a screen behind me and I play her video from YouTube, which is free. You can go look at it. And it shows what a neural pathway is. So as you start to think, let's take a thought, a negative thought. I'm never going to be good enough. And a lot of people say that when I go to my conferences. One of the unworthiness is a big one. Most people don't feel good enough. Most people are insecure. Most people feel like everyone around them has it better than they do. So let's stick with that. You start thinking that, and actually you can see it in the microscope, the way it's done under the microscope. You see these little neurons, they're actually going towards each other and they create what looks like branches in the winter when there's no leaves. So if you see a tree with no leaves and the really skinny little branches, that's a thought. And it actually is a thing. It's a real thing in your brain. She was able to show that, and it changed for me because I'm a science geek, right? I love,
Me too.
I just love seeing what we believe to be true show up in science, right? So she shows that, and I see all these branches being created. It's a thought that the person was thinking over and over. You know what happens to a thought you've thought for your whole life? Let's say that's not good enough. I'm never going to be anything. No one loves me. It becomes a super highway. It becomes a really thick branch instead of a really thin one. So she demonstrates what a bad thought or a good thought looks like in under a microscope in your brain. Very cool. Here's the real cool part. She then teaches how to make that branch die, how to create a new neural pathway with a positive thought and make the branch die. How do you do that? You do what Adam just said. You start declaring and affirming the opposite of what you're seeing in reality, meaning you start saying, I have a beautiful home that is my dream home. And even though you might be living in a shack, you start saying what you want to see. And what happens is the old thought of it's never going to happen, I'm never, that one starts to do what? It's not being fed anymore.
Right, it shrivels.
You're not feeding the beast. Now you're creating a new neural pathway, which by the way is a healthy thought. And that replaces, so it dies while this one starts to live. When I learned that 10 years ago, my whole understanding of how powerful my thoughts were became so real to me because I saw it under a microscope and I thought, for the love of God, I've got the worst dead trees in my, I need all of those branches to die. And it was so cool because it was palpable. It was something I could see.
This is how they cure stroke victims now, the same exact way.
Now, it's how they rebuild.
They always thought when a stroke
cells.
victim had a stroke, it was over. You'll never get the use back of your left side of your mouth
You're
or your
so
arm
right.
or your fingers. And they found that's not true. Your brain
Not
has
true.
a natural, like Microsoft Windows does, it has a natural healing function and you just need to activate it. It'll build a brand new neural pathway that will take over and you'll be able to use your hand again and you'll be able to smile again. You'll be able to do the things that the nerves that are gone don't
because
do
they
anymore.
can be regenerated.
Correct.
Yes. Right.
Well,
now think
technically they're cloned, but it's the same differential. It's rebuilt and it's rebuilt as new. So it's brand new. It doesn't even have the memory of the old negative stuff.
Now think back to when we were kids, because we're all almost the same age.
Hey, honey, my pet Stegosaurus.
So think back to when we were kids and you would hear someone, this is before we knew neurons could be, regenerated, before we knew brain tissue that was damaged or dead could be replaced and rebuilt. You would hear stories, at least I did, of people who did miraculous things and we didn't understand how they got out of that wheelchair. How does this person who was a paraplegic or someone who was, severely hurt in an accident actually become the person who can walk again, who can talk again? And if you think back, and this really got me when Dr. Leaf was talking about it, she said, back then, we would just say it was a miracle. But it wasn't just that it was and it's a beautiful miracle. However, why would such a small percentage of people overcome it and other people stay stuck? And she said, here's why. Because if you listen to the way they spoke and how they're either their parent, if they were a young child, look at people with disabilities who are raised by parents who say, you don't have a disability. You are good enough. You are more than, look at Nick. What is his last name? The guy with no arms and legs. Why is he such a champion? He was raised by people who said, you don't need those arms and legs to be the greatest person on the planet. See, they programmed these kids and these people for success. And there were people who have overcome literal physical deformities and issues and paralysis because their mind went to work and they programmed their mind. And whatever goes in your mind, by the way, ends up speaking to your body. Your body believes every word you say. If you're sick and tired.
Christopher Reeves.
Yes. And so back then we didn't know what we know now. They were using the science of speaking life. You can speak life over your finances every day and you will watch them shift. You want to get rid of debt? Speak to that debt, but you're not going to do it in a way that makes you feel weird. It's not corny. You're just every day going to walk around, whether you're taking a shower, or you're driving, and you're going to say, I am financially free. I have more than enough. I am overflowing with finances. When I open the mail, everything is zeroed out. I love that because I did that for years. And all of a sudden I ended up in a business where everyone around me was starting to do well for the most part. but a lot of them lost everything. And I look back and I go, my mindset while they were complaining and grumbling was I won't allow myself to complain and grumble about the things that start to go wrong in a company. Because by the way, every company has issues. I would say, I'm not listening to that. I was guarding my ears, guarding my eyes and saying, I'm going to build this thing to China. I'm going to have the biggest group. And I literally said, I believe this is going to happen for me. I'm not going to let myself get pulled down by the negativity in the crew, because we went through a lot as a company. And I have to tell you, people ask me now, like, how are you where you are financially when everyone else kind of their checks plummeted? There's only one variable that was different. I went through everything they did. I lost people too, but I kept saying, everyone that leaves, I'm going to bring 10 more in. And that's what happened.
Yes.
I spoke it into existence. Sounds crazy to you? Start reading some books
Not
on
crazy
change
at
your
all.
words, change your life. It's legitimately the real deal. You have power beyond power in just your tongue, and you don't know it. But once you start to know it, I want you to message Adam. I want you to message Kim. I want you to let them know. I love getting messages saying that people had breakthroughs. That's like the most fun for me. It's the most meaningful for me outside of my kids and my fiance and my dogs. But really, truly message them and let them know that you're starting to see breakthroughs, because you break off those old ways of thinking. Throw that away. Just like Adam said, put the past behind you. It's not easy to do. I understand that. But it's not serving you well, right? You only have a certain number of days on this earth. Go out and be amazing. Someone posted on Facebook today. She was 41, working in a JC Penney, right? By 43, she had written her first book. By 46, she became, I don't know, she's got like 3 million followers. And now she's known pretty much all over the world. She's a public speaker. And she said, don't tell me it's too late. She said, I was dead broke at 40, 41, and I just went for it. And she says, in everything she says, I realized it was my disease thinking that was holding me back. She said, not the fact that my parents were too busy to pay attention, not the fact that the economy crashed. She said, I was thinking with death instead of life. And you have got to reprogram your mind. You got to write it down, read it on a piece of paper every day, discipline yourself, because that's so much more fun than working 90 hours a week and still not having enough money to pay your bills, right? So I think if you had to choose, you're going to go, I'm going to go with Danell, and I'm going to try the cheaper way and less painful way of becoming really, truly, what's wealth to you? Wealth to me isn't making millions. Wealth to me financially is when you have enough to pay your bills, you have discretionary income you can have fun with, and you still have money to do an investment or to help people or to be charitable. That's wealth to me, right? It's not just comfort. That's wealth when you have more than enough. So maybe your number's 5,000 a month. But your other wealth is having joy in the midst of any circumstance that hits. Real wealth is having the kind of love where you don't have all those fences and those fears of getting hurt. And believe me, I'm just getting over all that stuff from my marriage. I'm learning to be as free and open with love as possible. It's scary, right? But instead of always walling yourself up to, oh, what if this happens? What if the minute somebody's washing machine breaks, here's what I hear. I don't have anything in savings. Do you know that the average American, you guys can correct me, this was from a few years ago, has less than $500 in savings, and I believe it's over 70% of Americans.
This is what we do for a living. This is what we do.
So give us a stat.
The stat is 400. Most Americans, more than 75% of Americans cannot afford a surprise $400 bill.
Correct. That used to be me.
That used to be me.
Yeah. And you know what changed?
I relate.
The only thing was my mind. And it just was a matter of becoming disciplined, because I read the books. I listened on YouTube to every top leader who had been a thought leader. And you know what most of them said, whether they were a pastor or they were a Tony Robbins or whether they were a Les Brown, you know what the theme is? I don't talk like the masses. I don't think like the masses. I don't do what the masses do.
Why?
And you know what? Because of taking that path, I said, well, I'm going to copy the people who used to be in the pit, who are now at the top of the mountain. I'm going to be the best student. I'm going to do, and I am coachable still to this day. I'm going to be 47
if you don't remain
in December.
Coachable,
I am
all come to an end.
coachable. You want to tell me, listen, if you're rude when you tell me an area, I don't necessarily like that. But if you give me constructive criticism, I'm the first girl to go to do what? To try to be better, because I see that every time I try to do better in my thought life, do better in how I speak to myself, do better in how much I give and how much I think on the good and how I handle stress and issues. Believe me, I'm still not perfect. It's amazing what the world gives me back, because the universe is only going to throw back to you whatever you're throwing at it. So if you're an angry, grumpy, critical, miserable person, granted, you probably have real reasons to be, but if you don't get rid of that, you're going to call more of it in, and you are fully responsible for the world you live in today, because it's a result of exactly what you were talking about and thinking about yesterday. And tomorrow will only be as good as how you think and speak today. And that is how I live my life. That's how Scott and I raise our kids. Most of our kids 15 and up. So we have 15 to 23, we have 5. And we're watching their lives change, because they now say, if they hear something negative, delete, delete, cancel, cancel. I don't receive that. They talk like we do, right?
Yes.
And
Oh my God, I remember
stepson,
cancel from the early 90s.
yes,
That's what I
cancel,
wanted
cancel.
to bring up. When you're talking about all this, one of the
Yes.
things that I remember in one of Danielle's Facebook Lives that she did, she was talking, this is hard. It is hard for some people to change their mindset and
Oh,
always speak
super hard.
positive, but there is going back. When you have that negative thought is, oh crap, the refrigerator's on the fridge.
Yep.
It's delete, 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 literally out loud, delete, delete, delete.
Cancel,
And
cancel, delete, delete.
yes, and it works.
Don't
It
allow
does
it in
work.
your mind.
Yes.
Don't. And if you knew the power of your subconscious mind, you would be fearful of letting negative in. I am
Yeah.
It
super
drains from your
conscious.
positive.
Yes. And the minute you do that, you're building a new neural pathway that's going to hold you back. So the faster you change your words and your thoughts, the faster you're out of debt, the faster you're not suffering as much in your relationships, and in just being a human being interacting with people. You're going to see that you have more favor. You're going to feel like good breaks are coming to you, because you're not sitting in that junk anymore. And my 18-year-old, who is my stepson, Aiden, I remember like a year or two ago, he was like, nobody's calling me back about a job. This was pre-COVID, by the way. Nobody's calling me back. I put in resumes, or whatever, his applications. And I was like, all right, it's your first job. You're going to hear from someone, I'm sure. Right. And I said, why didn't you start saying, I'm going to get a great job? Like, because I heard him kind of being a little negative. And then he starts walking around the house. I'm going to get a great job, literally within days. Like, phone rang and he's like, and I'm thinking, how cool is this that he's now taking real ownership of what he's saying, instead of just letting life come at him, instead of being negative about the situation. And then he ends up getting a great job. And what I tell them is yes, there are people who are going to tell you in life that it is what it is. You're just handed what you just got to play the hand you got. Actually, no, you can create a brand new hand. You can create a whole new scenario. You can go from dead broke to literally living a life of your dreams in a very short amount of time, but you hold the cards. I can't do it for you. Adam and Kim can't do it for you. We can just point you to the stuff that helped us to literally not just level up, helped us to get past and rise above the financial distress, the, bless you, the fear, the stress of, is there going to be enough to pay the rent this month? I never will go back to that, because my mind has told me I bring value wherever I go, no matter what company I'm in. I will always do well. And I've programmed myself that it's not the job, it's not the career. I bring the value. Therefore, I will always have money flowing to me and through me. That's when you know you're really getting there, when you realize it's not the job, it's you who's calling that money in. It's you who's creating real value in your life. And man, big things are going to happen for a lot of you that are watching. I mean, this is,
Oh, yeah.
I'm honored and humbled that you had me on. I obviously am very passionate
No,
about
no,
this
no, no, no.
stuff.
We're honored and
Yes.
humbled to have you on. You have
Thank
to
you.
understand that.
Absolutely.
The positivity that you bring to a room, even a virtual room, is absolutely
you.
amazing. And this is from another professional speaker. I did a convention of Chase executives at Newark Airport in the mid 90s, and basically told them that if they're negative, they're going to be in the same position they're in the next time I speak to them 5 years
Amen.
later.
100%.
There were people that were in that crowd again 5 years later when I spoke to them again. And they didn't listen the first time. I'm hoping they listened the second, because I only did
That's
it
right.
twice. But
Right.
the fact is, every night you go to bed with, tomorrow's going to be the greatest day of my life.
Yes.
And every
Best
morning
days
when
are
you
ahead.
get up, today is going to be the best day of my life. That's a
Yes.
double affirmation that you're going to have a good day every single day. And
Every day.
I'll attest, I'm going to witness. I've been having a rough time. Kim is a witness to this. The last month for me has been a tough month. Nothing is impossible. Tough
Right.
happens. Tough is
Stuff
part of life.
happens.
Right.
Absolutely.
Tough is part of life. But Kim will tell you, I'm on the phone with her every day. I'm busting it. I know that we're growing. I know that the USFA marketing, which you see behind me, just signed 2 deals that might make us an extra $500,000 a year.
Yep.
Woo!
So,
Congratulations.
as much as the negative comes, I just replace it with the positive that comes with it. If you
That's
allow
right.
it in, it will be there. So I'm just adding on to what you said here. There is nothing that can't be done. And you're going to love this quick story, very quick. My nephew, who is currently on a scholarship at Northeastern, when he was 6 years old, I bought him a piggy bank. He's like, yes. And he thought a piggy bank automatically meant money. And I said, well, your pig makes money for you as long as you feed it. And he said, what do you mean feed it? I said, well, every time that you have loose change, you need to feed it to your piggy. And then before you know it, you'll have bills just like mom and dad do. You'll have dollars and fives and tens. And he said, the pig will make those for me? I said, as long as you feed it every single time you have coins, yes, it will. Do you know that he filled from the age of 6 to 10 that piggy bank that I bought him? And it was a medium sized one so many times that by the time he was 10 years old, he had $700 saved up.
Wow.
Love it.
Okay. And I knew you'd love this story. It's kind of cute. It was in his head. My sister
If I
would call
feed
me
it.
and say, every time that we give him a quarter for doing something, he's like, I'll be right back. I got to go feed the pig. And she's like, what pig are you feeding?
Yep.
He was running upstairs to drop the quarter in the piggy bank. What does a 6-year-old need with a quarter? Mom and dad buy everything for you.
Yeah.
So he learned early on, when I have it, put it away. When I need it, it's there.
Yep.
Awesome.
So
Are
fun
you
story.
guys okay? Are you guys okay leaving me letting me leave everyone with a little final nugget?
Absolutely. Yep. Please do.
100%.
Thank you.
Yes.
So when things were at their toughest, and some of you watching right now, this is it for you. You're at rock bottom. You feel that pain. This is like, gosh, this is the hardest place you've been. When that happened, I went down to Hershey, Pennsylvania to watch Joyce Meyer. I got invited to her conference. There was no cost, so I was like, I'll go. Hey, who knows when we go to the chocolate factory, which we didn't. But anyway, she stood on stage and she said, and I'll never forget it. I was sitting like on the side, like way up high, and I could barely see her, but I could hear her. She has that voice, that thunderous voice. And
Mhm.
she said, when it's the worst day ever, or when it's the worst time in your life, the way to counteract that and the way to pull yourself out of it is to give thanks. And I was like, come on. And she said, and by the way, I didn't know that was going to prepare me that the worst time of my life was going to get worse. And actually, I was going to start using this. And she said, gratitude will change things in a huge way. So this final thing I want you to remember is, always remember I told you this. She said, if all you have is a roof over your head and shoes on your feet, say thank you for that. Thank the universe, thank God. Just be thankful you have it, and then watch how much more starts to come in. And so when we were losing everything, I used to say, God, I just thank you that my kids are healthy. I thank you that I'm healthy, my husband's healthy. And if we have to live in a cave, I'm okay with that. I should have never said that, but I didn't know back then what I know now. And I was just like, as long as we're healthy and okay, things don't matter to me. And I remember making that promise that if you get me out of this, I will never stop telling everyone about you. And I won't give up that, because that was important to me. But I want to leave you with this nugget about gratitude. No matter what you believe, where you've come from, what you've been through, you can take a moment of really bad times and start thanking the world, yourself, the people around you, God, for what you have, because you'll find that this major shift happens when you sit in a place of gratitude. Because when you complain and grumble, it's the opposite. Right. So this is where poverty lies, and you stay in poverty when you grumble and complain. But when you're grateful, all of a sudden things start getting added to you, because if you're happy with where you're at, you can always strive for more. But if you're grateful for what you have now, more will be given to you. Little treat I wanted to share with you. Remember,
that
you guys,
is a
you have
nugget
the
that
power
grows
to
into
change
a
your whole life
tree.
today.
Yep. All right. So here's my nugget, and then I'm going to let Kim close out the show.
Sure.
It's an old adage called "Why worry." All right. I don't know if you know it or not, but it's a funny ending. I'm a former stand-up comic, so I love to tell why worry. So in life, there's only 2 things to worry about. Either you're healthy or you're sick. If you're healthy, there's nothing to worry about. But if you're sick, there's two things to worry about. Either you're going to get better or you're going to die. If you're going to get better, there's nothing to worry about. If you're going to die, there are two things to worry about. You're either going to heaven or you're going to hell. If you're going to heaven, there's nothing to worry about. And if you're going to hell, you'll be so busy reminiscing with all your old friends you won't care anyway. So why worry?
That was tremendous. I adore you.
Danielle, thank you so much.
Always leave
You
them
have
laughing,
been-
right?
I love
Yep,
it.
he always does. And Danielle, this has been invaluable. This has been just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart
Pleasure.
for doing this. I know that you are bringing a wealth of knowledge to our audience. It was a nice little special episode that will help in every single area of their life. And that's what Adam and I do. So
Thank
with
you.
that,
My pleasure.
Yep,
Until next
I
week.
appreciate the before we even get to that, I appreciate the positivity. Every ounce of it I can get just makes me stronger. So I really loved having you on today.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. And everyone watching, you are absolutely worth everything out there. So go after it. Start your life now. Don't live in the past. Know that you have seeds of greatness within you. Everybody has the chance at any age in life to make their life great. And your best days are ahead of you, as Joel Osteen says. And I'm a big believer in you can make tomorrow an amazing life. You just got to harness it and take all this great info that you're getting from Kim and Adam and go do something with it, because life is too short not to go after it. So thank you so much, guys. It was
Thanks.
great.
Thank you,
until
Danielle.
All right,
next
guys.
Make
time.
sure you email us your info so I can put it in the description box for people to find you.
Will do. Thank you so much.
All
Next
righty.
time we'll help you cruise into a better financial future. Thanks,
Yep, and if
everyone.
you have any questions,
care.
you can send them to questions@cruisingintooabetter financial future, and we'll get them answered for you. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Good night,
Thanks,
Danielle. Thanks
Danielle.
for being here. Thank you for being a part of Cruising into a Better Financial Future. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss a future episode. We'll see you next time. Bye.